Hey guys, Cam for 15, back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review for you guys, as we are continuing on this story of My Hero, as pretty much, I missed the last two chapters, last week's chapter, so I'm going to be talking about chapters 392 and 393, so, hey, listen, these chapters were crazy, and the crazy thing is, Horikoshi actually upped how many pages he would do. Like, chapter 392 is 13 pages, while the next chapter, this week's chapter, ended up going back to its typical 17-page chapter. Now, again, obviously, people have been talking about Horikoshi's health and things like that. Again, we don't, we can obviously see that Horikoshi, or can tell that Horikoshi's not going through good health with what he says and in author's notes and stuff like that. Now, ultimately, I'm still of the belief that they need to give Horikoshi a break, but maybe who's to say that maybe Horikoshi, I'm not saying he's saying it to throw that there, maybe he isn't still well, but he's well enough to still continue to write out the manga, and maybe his health isn't as bad of a shape as other people maybe make it out to be, or maybe he makes it out to be. I don't know. Maybe it was because before the chapter came out, he got a break or something like that. But, we'll see. But obviously, we got to still monitor Horikoshi's health. But I just kind of wanted to just throw that kind of little thing. Like, maybe he's still a little bit ill. Maybe his health isn't the best. But maybe his health is not that bad to the point where he can still write 17-page chapters, and maybe it's just a planned out stretch of like how many pages he's going for set chapter. I don't know, but obviously the health is a concern, and you always got to be I'm not trying to say just alone like, okay, you're not really giving a shit about his health. I really do. I've said this on multiple occasions, but who knows? We don't ultimately know the guy, so we don't know how bad the guy's health is. We're just going off his author notes. So maybe his health is bad, but it's not as bad as if he's like, oh, on my deathbed bad, where it's like, okay, the guy clearly might need to have a break or something. Maybe his health is like, I'm strong enough to write 17-page papers. Or page mangas. I just don't prefer doing that because it's not easy on the hand, or the risk and everything, and it doesn't help me get stronger. So maybe the thing is, we'll probably see shorter chapters going forward as the story's concluding. But maybe if it's something important, like for example we see in this week's chapter of Ochako's Quirk awakening, you're gonna have a longer drawn out chapter probably. So yes, but that's pretty much what these two chapters consist of the Ochako Toga fight. And I know some people in the My Hero Academia community are not preferring this whole thing because, oh, it's it's Ochako trying to talk Toga out of doing this. But again, when I did like the three main villains, the League of Villains, which were Shigaraki, Toga, and Dabi, I always felt like Toga would probably be the one out of the three that maybe somebody could talk out of doing and maybe stop them from fighting completely just by talking. Dabi and obviously Shigaraki, you can try as hard as you can, but at the end of the day, we saw with Dabi, like, no, they had to put him down. Not kill him, but they had to take him down once and for all and make sure he's done and he's stopped. While Shigaraki, Deku will probably try to talk him out of doing what he's doing, but seemingly enough, where we last left off with that situation, he's probably not going to be talked down to, and he's probably not gonna be stopped just by doing Taku no Jutsu. But Toga, you might be able to get away with that, and seemingly enough in these two chapters, especially this week's chapter, it seems like Ochako actually is getting to Toga to maybe potentially stop her. Now, I can definitely see the community going up in arms and furiousness and being pissed off, like, it makes no sense. Why is Ochako still trying to talk about all this romance and things like that and appreciate? And I'll obviously get it into this week's current chapter. But it's like, why is Ochako doing all this and talking about this? Like, she killed people. And again, there's moments in that chapter where Ochako says, I don't condone you for what you did, but I can see that obviously deep down you can be a good person, you can change for the better. You just have to do what's necessary to change for the better. So let's get into this chapter, these two chapters. So we start off with chapter 392, titled Villain Name. So pretty much, that was the moment to where, Sue got stabbed, and pretty much, Toga was like, you don't know a thing about me and everything. Now, Ochako's like, oh wait, Froppy, but pretty much like Sue now. That's kind of the thing now. Toga is just lashing out in a rage at Ochako, saying because you've never wanted for anything, because you've always followed their rules, because you were born into a perfectly livable life. We're just saying, like, I was in a terrible like situation while you got to live the good and high life and everything. And it just cuts back to like her flashback of where her parents were kind of disowning her, calling her a monster, and saying like, oh, why is she like smiling like that and everything. And she was taken to like kind of, I guess you can say, a mental facility so she can be deemed as a normal person and stop doing what she was doing. But we know that Toga never was cool with that, and stuff like that. And they were always telling her like, hey, you need to act normal. And obviously Toga doesn't really know what normal is for her, and her normal is just acting as herself and everything. And it's kind of, again, a tragic backstory for her, because it's like her parents pretty much ignored her, didn't want nothing to do with her, and because of it, it affected the way how she became, and she never truly understood like, what is normal and what's not. So that's kind of the thing right then and there. Now Ochako pulls Toga up out of everything, and pretty much, it's funny because, Toga's just losing her mind. She's like, freaking Uraraka. Now, the thing is, Jiro comes in to save Sue and saying like, okay, got you, Sue. But we find out to see that, listen, that's a fake Sue right then and there. And it's just another clone. So we just see like, oh, her quirk, Toga's quirk, I guess Toga's quirk of twice is upgraded to the point that she's already like using the faces of other heroes. Like we see in this one panel, she's using Sue and Jiro's faces, and pretty much somehow she got drops of blood from other people. Now, absolutely crazy. It's going to show that her quirk is advancing, because now she's not only stacking her quirk with the twice quirk, but it's like, seemingly enough, it's her quirk with the blood ingestion and turning into other people. It's having an effect on the twice clones, where the twice clones are actually turning into, obviously, other people, which is absolutely crazy to say the least. So yeah, which is absolutely shocking to see. Even Jiro shocked, like, wait, how the fuck did she get me? So that's kind of the thing now. All of a sudden, you just have it to where all these clones are starting to take over the heroes and stuff like that, and there's nothing really heroes can do. Now, Ochako was like, listen, Toga, listen, I once thought that following the rules is what made somebody a hero, and that breaking them made you a villain. But you know what, Himiko Toga? Right now, my friend is setting the rules and everything else aside to try, and this is what Sue's saying. Or, actually, I'll cut to what Ochako's saying. But Sue's pretty much saying, like, listen, listen, Toga, she's trying to have a conversation with you and to save you, pretty much. So yeah. Now, anyways, Ochako goes on to say, so come on, that's kind of the thing. But the thing is, as Ochako's giving her speech, the chapter pretty much ends off with Ochako getting stabbed point blank by Toga, saying, and Toga says, like, we're just built different. You people go on about having happy, blessed lives, but I don't get a feel or a lick of that. Your rules tell you to pity me, but don't you dare. And pretty much the chapter ends off with like twice asking Toga, like, say Toga, why don't you want a villain name of your own? And again, when I saw this chapter, like, seeing Ochako stabbed, I was like, no, do not kill my girl Ochako. But as we get into the next chapter, we start the chapter off of a flashback where the League of Villains are talking about villain names and if it's okay to have villain names. Now, Toga wants nothing to do with a villain name. And pretty much kind of the thing is Dobby goes on to say, like, please, that's just some crowd-pleasing crap. A holdover from the before the Quirk registration system. And pretty much it's funny because I think Mr. Compress is like, well, really, you're one to talk, Dobby, because you're not using your real name. And even Shigaraki goes on to say, like, there's basically used to be no difference between heroes and villains. One theory says the alias stuff started when you'd have an anonymous enemy and needed to call them something. From there, some decided to adopt those very nicknames to hide their identities, assuming another identity like new skin was a matter of survival. At some point, they went all in with codenames ripped straight from comic books. According to this theory, it all started with people announcing themselves by those aliases. That's why the world's turned into a comic book. But Shigaraki was like, well, I don't need a villain name. I'm good as is. So, yes, and pretty much Toga's like, yeah, that's why I joined the League. I want to live pretty much as Himiko Toga. Now, we cut back to the present after, Ochako got stabbed and Toga takes the dagger out, or the knife out of Ochako, and pretty much, Toga's like, listen, your rules tell you to pity me, but don't you dare pity me, pretty much. And Ochako pretty much responds by that, even though she's like coughing up massive blood right now, she's still talking. She's like, it's not pity. Now, the thing is, Toga's wondering, like, well, great, she touched me, but if I'm floating, I'm no threat anyway. Her quirk's no threat in the air unless she drops me, pretty much. But we know Ochako is not like that. And my stupid laptop is... Okay, back after my laptop's like just glitching. And it still is glitching. Holy jeez. Edit. You see? You can never have nice things. So, yes. Anyways, Toga responds to Ochako saying, just the right things to say, but in the end, you'll toss me into a cage on death row, won't you? So pretty much Toga's saying, like, please, you're going to just throw me in jail and then I'm probably going to die. Now, Toga goes on to say, or you'll murder me outright, just like they did to Jin. It's a win or lose, live or die, and mind you, her face as Toga is starting to show. The thing is, she continues on saying, a winner takes all survival match, no going back. Now, Ochako, who's just battered and bruised and just beat up, she's going to say, seems like the obvious truth for us both. And, Toga responds by saying, if it's really not pity, then it's just your ego talking. And pretty much, she uses this move called You're Dead Meat Hero, and this move called Sad Man's Legion. And we see, like, there's still more heroes that she's using, and we see, like, Pixie Bob, we see Ochako obviously, a fake Ochako and a fake Sue, and we just see, like, the heroes just bombarded by these Twice clones, and you just have it to where, like, this reporter is, like, just overhead saying, like, this could be, like, the Quirk Doomsday theory, where the further the generation goes, the higher that, the Quirks get stronger. So, and what I mean by this, it's just like a pillar of Twice clones, just absolutely crazy. So you're just seeing, like, Toga just go all crazy out with this quirk of hers, pretty much. And that's kind of the thing. So yeah, now Toga sends the clones to go crush Ochako, but Ochako, is using her gun head martial arts to evade these clones and everything, and pretty much, obviously she's sending them to float. And the thing is, the clones are like, please, you're letting us float. That ain't gonna do anything. No damage is being done. And pretty much Ochako is just like, please, my zero gravity is not for hurting people. It's for saving them. And pretty much Ochako responds by saying, ego, huh? You may be right. You intentionally killed people, and I can't wipe your slate clean. Yet when I see your face, it's like I had no choice. I figured there must have been a reason. because that day when the world got turned upside down, which is pretty much the first war arc, she goes on to say, what I said made you look so sad. And pretty much Toga responds back by saying, you were the sad one. Now, Ochako goes on to say, well, please, we were both. And she goes on to say, listen to me, Toga. You seriously scared the crap out of me when we first met, because I didn't understand you back then. Given the situation, how could you grin like that? Such a genuine smile. And Toga's just like, please, shut up. Now, Toga's just thinking of the fact that, like, people were calling her smile creepy. Now, Toga's just, like, trying to have nothing of this and everything, and she's just wondering, like, why won't Ochako just die, just go away? But then Ochako goes on to say, like, I know I pushed you away that one time, and maybe this world isn't a place you can be yourself. I know all that, yet even so, you know, we then come back to Ochako's flashbacks where it was always like when she would always look at the people's faces. And then it gets to a moment where she has a panel of, it's like a young Toga and a young Ochako looking at the young Toga. And then you get a panel of Deku, obviously with, as Ochako saying, but being able to declare what you love and do it with your whole face. Which I guess you can say is finally an admittance of Ochako saying she loves Deku with this panel. I'm guessing that's just me, to say the least. She pretty much screams out to Toga saying, well, that smile of yours is so perfect. I'm honestly jealous. You hear me? This gets Toga all emotional and she starts crying. And the thing is, Ochako is like, and I don't want to pretend I never saw your amazing smile. Then all of a sudden, something happens and then all the clones just get blown back. Now, obviously the clones are wondering, like, wait, Ochako never touched me. How am I floating back? And everything. And pretty much, you have it to where you have a moment of Jiro saying, it's like it's spread between bodies that came into contact. And pretty much you have it where the reporter's saying this and she's like, this one girl. Now Ochako screaming out, saying, look, I can't erase all your crimes or approve of everything you've done. But if there is any part of you that still feels like talking to me, you can have a life, talking to me. Let's have that chat about romance, Toga. You can have a lifetime's worth of my blood, if that's the case. And you have that panel to where you have a kid, Ochako, pretty much rolling up her sleeve to the kid Toga saying, drink my blood. So Ochako's saying, like, listen, you can have my blood if you just stop this nonsense and everything. Now, number one, we have Ochako's quirk awakening. It seems like her quirk awakening is now she can just visit, she doesn't have to touch them anymore, because that's how her quirk used to operate. Her quirk used to operate in a way where she had to touch somebody to be able to have them float. Now, it's seemingly enough. It seems like she can just, if she has some sort of weird connection or, you know, or things like that from a distance, she can just blow them back and make them float, which is a crazy, crazy ability of hers, which makes life for her a lot easier. Because now it's like, okay, maybe in a way it's kind of like, it's like the force now for her. Like if she wants to push something back to make it float, she can do that now. So it's absolutely crazy to say the least. Again, I know some fans may not approve this Taka no Jutsu moment from Ochako, but again, I don't condone the actions that Toga did, and yes, you don't have to condone what she did, and even Ochako's mentioned it like multiple times in this chapter, like, please, by no means, you know, am I saying what you did was right, you know, or was it justified, but, you know, you can change your life for the better. You can stop this. We can talk. We could potentially be friends, you know, if you just stop this and let's just have a talk. Let's have a discussion. And it was actually crazy that for once, you know, Ochako was like, I was jealous the fact that you could smile so peacefully, so happily. I wish I could do that. And also the fact that Ochako was willing to offer her own blood. I don't know how this is going to work. I guess this is going to like work out if Toga gets arrested. You know, Ochako's just going to give like a vial of blood, you know, if she manages to stay alive, because right now I don't know. I don't know. She's like she's very badly wounded right now. I highly doubt Horikoshi would kill her off, but who knows? Never say never. But to see, the thing is, maybe it would be a thing where she gives a vial of her blood, and you know, they can talk. And I always take in this approach. Maybe they have it to where eventually Toga will serve her time, but I highly doubt they would let her go. Like, for an incident like this, she would probably have to be in jail for a lifetime, for pretty much the rest of her life when she gets caught. So maybe, I guess, Ochako would just talk to her while she's in jail, and they could just talk about friends and things like that, and I guess girly stuff. But you know, we'll see where the story goes. But it's funny because I did see a comment saying, like, on another video saying, like, oh, well, just imagine, just guess. I would, and I honestly agreed. And that person who said that question was like, I wonder if the next chapter would be called Ochako Uraraka Rising, because typically with My Hero Academia, with a big character moment, typically they would do that. They did it for Deku, they did it for Bakugo, they did it for Shoto Todoroki, they did it for Momo back, like, in the anime, or yeah, they did it for Momo back, like, in season 2. So it would make sense that, hey, you have a moment where it's Ochako Uraraka Rising. So yes, but anyways, solid chapter of My Hero Academia. Can't wait to see more. Apparently there's no break, but who knows, before Koji's health, we could be getting an unexpected break. Don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more. If you want to get more My Hero Academia content, or any other anime content upload to the channel, things like that. But till then, guys, stay safe out there, have a great rest of your day, stuff like that. Peace.